Hello everyone, welcome to another video. This will be the inter-semi-finals of the Easter tournament, so we're getting very close to the end there. Find out which of these players would be meeting Risk in the finals from what we talked about in the last one. We got Raphael here is the grey Gungans, and John here is the yellow Gungans, and the map is Krant, which is a terrible, horrible, horrible map with barely any space on it at all. Not really a good 1v1 map whatsoever. And pretty easy to wall off, and you probably just want to like T4 air or some sort of shenanigans like that, or maybe drop some units into the other side, but more than likely both players end up just sort of walling things off and such. A lot more passive and boom orientated styles would do well on this, I would think. And we can see that John the Late here is going for that sort of early light wall. And then get a prefab shell. Oh, I'm confused what he's up to. Maybe try to stop the scout getting onto his side. But he's done that thing where people block out scouts, but don't let their own into their enemy side of the map, so they can keep an eye on their opponent. Maybe he was going to get housed, and that's why he built that prefab shelter there. I wonder what this worker's going to get up to after this. Looking at the food on the map, there's nurse up to going to the nursery, so maybe 12 up to 16. There's an extra 4 there that John's missing. Some berries that they can eat in the meantime, and there seems to be a couple of Cadus wandering quite close to John's command center that you should maybe be grabbing up there, because that would be a little bit of a differential of food here. As you can see, Raphiel has not got the same amount of infrastructure yet, because he's got both his nurseries first. He's doing a bit of long distance mining to the berries there, but the workers that he's not going to put on carbon, going to get the carbon processor first, then probably going to drop the food processor. It's not too bad here, these guys take ages to get the berries anyway. And the nurseries are sort of providing the food income, but it looks like he's missing 4 as well. Which I'm not really surprised on this map, because of the way that the tree clusters spawn. I'm going to be honest, for the life of me, I don't know where his extra 4 are. Oh, I think John's maybe like gotten them, or they spawned them over here. Yeah, he's going to be up to 20, so it'll be 20 versus 12 nurse there. I wonder if they've just spawned on like the wrong side. This really is a bad map. Not a fan of it at all. It's called Krant. Rhymes with can't play on it. But anyway, we're gonna speed things up, I think, just to get out of that blooming early T1. Raphael asking if it's 16 nerfs, because he can't find his extra ones. A lot of workers on carbon here. Not really dropping any extra farms as of yet. Which I think is probably about time for the players to do. There we go. There's not really going to be any mounty opportunities here with the things sort of walled already. And I think this could vary where there's, because I think there was sort of like 2 paths in the one we saw between Risk and Yoda. And this one there is just the 1 path. So you have to drop a bunch of farms, get off to T2, think about T3. Get on the Nova and stuff. You see as the workers reach a certain mass where you've got more than about like 3 per side. Nice to get like another carbon processor, just to keep them efficient. It won't take too long for that to pay itself off, because they're just an absolute menace, these workers, for bumping and getting stuck. I see both players going to be doing that, but we don't really have much farms as of yet from John the Late, probably because he's got 8 more nerfs than his opponent. So he doesn't need the food just as quick. But he should probably be getting them as he starts them now. Because he's going to need that little bit of extra food income to get up to the 800 amount when they hit T2. So they can get to T3. So Nova Crystal Processor dropping for both players here. Pretty much just a standard sort of T3. There's some really nice shorefish here. That's probably the best spawn you'll ever see on this map. These could have been a nice little differential as well. And then all the Cadus here. Which I think would have been nice to grab when they hit sort of this point near the command center. Just an extra little bit of quick food. You can see they sort of walk round. Occasionally they walk round here. Raphiel saying to John that he's only got 12. I'm giving him a confused face. When deep down he probably knows that he's got the 4 that would be intended for Raphiel. I think my guess is that they spawn like here or something. I just didn't quite catch it. I don't think he walked it through here. Dodgy map. So John off to T2. Raphiel just about to hit T2. Says your opponent has 20. Is he tech quicker than him? So at least assuming that. Tech building is going to be dropping. John downplaying his 20 now, so. And you see with the mech factories and spaceports, there's probably going to be a lot more workers thrown onto Nova, and probably just going to be airbase openers. There's a lot of factors why this is just a bad map. One being the tree lines and how they spawn. Like the size of the clusters are just enormous. You're like trapped in a little forest. And it wouldn't be so bad, but then there's all these hills as well. There's a lot of elevation, like designed to spawn on the map, and there's not really like a good enough control of where the elevation goes, so sometimes it can be sort of decent and flat. You know, it's like a big hill, but there's flat spaces where you can place a command center, and other times it's just not. Like there's a lot less opportunities to place command centers here for Raphiel, particularly around the important areas. Maybe get like 2 up here just to sort of favour that, and then around here. But you would kind of want 1 around here, I would have thought, near your Carbon and your Nova. But that's just not going to fly. This is like a really nice little flat area here to boom into. It's away from your opponent as well. You could put all your infrastructure here around the frontish. Both players are going to hit T3. Dropping the air bases. Double air base for Raphiel. Only 1 here for John. He could. He does have the space for it. You put it here. Nope. You gotta put it here. Close enough. Let's get the power there. But he's gonna be at a little bit of a deficit early here with Vizier. Ambitious to sort of fly his 1 fighters out, like away from his air bases now. Raphiel got his 2 fighters here. I don't know if he's waiting for his opponent to be more aggressive to him or what. He's maybe going to build his own wall here. I'm a little bit worried because his opponent's got a wall off and he doesn't. So if his opponent were to delete the buildings and maybe throw some strike mechs towards him, that would be pretty bad for him, because then he'd have to make mech destroyers and slow down the sort of command centers that you would normally build, you know, after this here. You can see you're going to be building up a lot of fighters. Put a ton of workers onto Nova. It's about 10 workers on Nova there, maybe 9. And a lot of fighters just sort of gathering over here on the left hand side. And maybe going to sneak around and look for an opportunity to get into the like Carbon line of his opponent here. Doesn't really know where exactly it is, but he's going to see these 2 fighters sort of reveal themselves at the prefab shelters. But he's going to keep to his plan here and move around this area. And it should work out that if he does strike first here, that he maybe gets a couple of workers before John can respond, and you know, then he can maybe look to just micro a little bit better in the fight. He's going to come in here, going to say hello to the workers, think it's only about like 7 hits kill a worker, so they're going to go down quite fast there, being like 6 fighters there. Especially with their rate of fire. And John's aired all the way out in the middle of the map, and it's split into 2 groups as well. And it could work out that he just loses each trade one at a time. Raphiel managing to sneak away, but his fighters have gotten very low there. You can see there's like 2 on like 1 health. He's getting an okay trade under the circumstances, particularly with them being low. He kind of just needed to fight that group of 3 there instantly. Just grab his units and micro onto them rather than run away. I don't know if he was maybe doing something else when he jumped to that group there. And he sort of just panic moved away. You would assume that there'd be a lot more fighters than that, but because of what John did, I don't know if he's trying to scout the map or what. Maybe scouting around. He'd split his groups into 2. Which, not having turrets and stuff could have been a real problem if Raphiel won that trade. Like, took the first group down and then traded, even with the second trade, because then this amount would just kill him. You'd be dead. Because you don't have any turrets or anything to fall back in that circumstance. So, you want to be really careful with your air when you're like this. But, as we talked about, this is a really nice flat area, so there's double command centers just drop down there. And yeah, that would be the first sort of intuitive area really for Raphiel to get a CC, get onto the ore here. But really there's not much choice, is there? I think maybe 2 up here and then into this Nova area. I do like how there's a little bit more space here for Raphiel if he wants to like make ground forces and stuff. Like heavy weapons factories or something like that, and then you can sort of push through the tree line. Use the attack ground feature and kill off the trees. And it's going to be the exact same scenario here. He comes into the carbon first and he looks to get those kills, and you can see how many workers die when you're just not prepared for this. When you're just not on the ball. It's a lot of workers to go down, particularly when you're both playing air and entering into a game where you're going to be making command centers and such. Losing those workers is just going to set you like, very firmly behind. John does have the added benefit of having like sort of 3rd command center right now, but I don't know if it's really going to reflect in the worker count since he's lost so many. It's just very even, is it? Which is pretty good going for how long he's had that extra command center. He does have like the added nerf bonus as well, like the extra 8 nerfs of food income. See, Raphiel has to build all these like extra farms and stuff. And more workers going to go down here. You can see that Raphiel has just done a better job of keeping his fighter production going. And he's using that sort of martial advantage to just bully his opponent. And just going to lose all his fighters here. I don't think this is worth it. He needs to macro and do something with the lead of the workers, and running around trying to kill off 2 anti-air mobiles with T3 fighters is a waste of your time. You see holocrons being grabbed up here by John. But Raphiel just needs to drop these extra CCs, that's the correct play. So unfortunately he wasted so much time trying to kill these AA mobiles off. And this is the thing, you get this big lead with the fighters and such, but you can't really kill your opponent off with them. And there's no like T4 air to really go for. You can't get like the shields or anything like that. Tech into like bombers. That would probably be the ultimate build for this terrible map. But a few more workers going to go down here. I'll have a quick look. 58 for John and 60 for Raphiel. So he's now in the lead here. And as he goes around, because John's just lost his fighter count and he's not building anymore, every bit that's not under air fire is just gonna, well, the workers are just gonna die. He's grabbing all these holocrons though, which will definitely help. He's gonna have a lot of free income with the nerfs, the holos. But what Raphiel can do is maybe set up to do a sort of push onto John now. The sort of worker lead he's getting with all the air raids. If he can multitask appropriately, John might not be in an instance where he can defend the push successfully. He's got this extra command center over here. one worker going down there. Certainly a lot of turrets now. I'm having to garrison the workers. It's a huge disruption to the eco, and these two guys are going to die in a second. We can drop mechs into the base. Might work out. I think what would have been really nice here with the setup of the command centers and stuff is just to get a bunch of artillery and just come through the wall, kill all the trees, attack around them all, and just push towards your opponent. I see so many AA mobiles running around the base, and this is just for Gungan fighters too. And using the air to guarantee the drop of the mechs here. I'm going to drop them where John's trying to build his infrastructure. Not quite paying attention, almost baiting us into thinking he's going to lose that. And the mechs and the strikes here, not really any upgrades for them since it's been an air opener. And all the Nova's been going into the air. There wasn't really a war centre with that infrastructure. So they're not doing too much damage. These A-mobiles are actually eating quite a lot. And it's going to give John a lot of time to make some mech factories in a defensive position. And maybe get like enough forces just to bounce this army out of his base. This is why I kind of prefer the sort of artillery approach, is just because the pressure feels a little bit better. But it might improve here with these extra drops. A few more mechs coming in, and the workers are going to maybe try and get some sort of building here, maybe a fortress. I'm unsure, he did just make a fortress here though. Maybe he's going to make a shield generator. The artillery here is going to prove a little bit problematic for this army because there's not really much upgrades for it. He does get the armor's quite nice here. Just limit the damage that his mechs are going to take. And he is going to try and build the fortress here with the 5 workers. Oh, cheeky Famba, need to get that dropped immediately. That'll really help out here, but see, there's a lot of artillery reaching now, and it's going to get up to critical mass. And since his opponent's got all these holocrons, 4 holos, the artillery spam's going to be pretty hectic. Does get the fortress up, which is a huge win for him here though. So the fortress damage is going to do really well against this artillery, and prove a bit of a nuisance in this spot. Now you just need to get this Famba across, I think, into a nice little spot behind the fortress, give it a shield. Because T3 artillery is not the best against it. Trying to raid off and kill more workers here. Just using all this chaos and maybe distract John from trying to take down this position. But he does have 2 heavy weapons factories right next to the fortress, which is kind of a bit of an oversight when there's not any units reinforcing it, because the pummels are just going to come out instantly right on top of the fort and do a ton of damage. You see, they pretty much just do like 100 damage every like 2 seconds or something like that. And the aggression's kind of just sort of petered out here. A lot of workers running down to this sort of secret location here, where John's got a CC and a lot of prefabs. And yeah, with this getting cleaned up, the pressure kind of just stops and back to sort of square one here, and it might prove even more difficult now that there's units out, mech destroyers, artillery, for Raphiel to just drop his forces across safely. This is why I kind of just favoured the whole get your artillery out and knock down a nice path to your opponent, particularly while he wasn't ready. But it looks like John is now ready. He's hit T4 now, can upgrade the units that he's got. And Raphael not far behind him. Still a few more transports here, but not too much units in them, I don't think. And this fortress deciding to kill off the Cadu. So Raphael trying to get these workers home by bashing down the prefab with them. Looks like he's just got no range here. Fortress can now reach. So imagine the fighters are going to get upgraded at least to fast fighters. There's not quite a few of them though, maybe not. It would do a lot more damage to the worker counts. I think a Mountie switch should be really good here. As John doesn't really have any fighters, doesn't have any strike mechs. Nothing to really stop Mountie aggression. There's a few troop centers, maybe we will see that. The cannon out here are going to try and clean up a lot of this wall. That Famba that never got dropped is looking for a position to station itself. You can see how the maps just made this very complicated for both of them, trying to work out what to do with their units. But again, you can just attack ground, kill all the trees, and just make a wider arc for yourself. It's not too hard just to select them one at a time and just click on a tree. Just do it really quickly over an area. Fan it out. Or alternatively, now that they're T4, they can make an air cruiser as well and just be a much simpler attack ground move. Kill a lot of trees in a big oneer. And we have the fast fighters here, going to look for some worker kills. But, you know, there's a lot of command centers and a lot of free resources in this economy as well. It's maybe not even that worth it. Well, these guys are going to get caught out. And these guys might... It'd be nice if these get caught out as well. If you can go around here, get quite a few workers, then definitely make it worth it. There's an air cruiser. Probably going to see the tree line go bye-bye. What'll be interesting as well is... yeah, maybe you can get some cruisers in these ponds or something. Don't know if they really reach anything relevant though. It's interesting when you got an air cruiser to use the artillery. Maybe he doesn't quite want to get rid of all the trees. He's worried. I'm gonna hit his own units here with the artillery. I think you should just attack this, attack this, attack this. Create a little arc up here. Yeah, you can keep this defensive bit to the side. Fighters still doing a bit of raiding here, killing off some workers. I'm a little bit worried for Raphiel here. He just doesn't have the same level of economy. He does have that Mountie tech switch building here though. Need to get them maybe the advanced Mounties as well. Get as much upgrades as he can in the meantime. But look at all the strike mechs that have actually been built. See, John's actually shored up this army and it's sort of one weakness here. But he is running them into the eco. You could try and hide the Mounties here, which would be the intuitive thing to do. And maybe you could kill these off as they raid his own economy and they leave the army vulnerable. And this is actually a really good point. He just goes for it, yeah. You go for it here, because look how it's split up. It's just completely disorganized. Its protective unit is running to the back of his base to try and kill off his workers. And the Mounties will be able to just wipe the artillery, because they've been left completely vulnerable. He's probably going to have to use the air cruiser to kill some of these off. You can see a lot of these, because they get caught on the tree line, they're completely out of position and at the mercy of the Mounties. The mech destroyers don't do enough damage to them. There will be strike mechs now in the economy killing off workers, but you can make a few mech destroyers and just send them off to deal with them. And the artillery going down is really just sort of, it's taking the teeth out of this army. Because they were going to be, you know, like the units that were going to take down the buildings there and trade really well against the mech destroyers. And now he's having to make strike mechs at home to sort of deal with this blunder. And it's kind of just sort of wiped the army and put it back to square one. Still a few strikes killing off workers and stuff, but the eco's quite, you know, sort of spread out around different spots. And the mech destroyers will clean it up quite quickly. There's only so many routes for the strike mechs to take, so they are kind of just guaranteed death there. And yeah, we go back, like, look at John's eco here. It's like no Nova, no food, but like 6k car, but it seems a little bit imbalanced at the moment. Not a huge amount of 84 carbon workers and only 23 farmers. They're relying really heavily on these nerfs. They saw only 3 Nova miners as well. Like, there's just so many carbon collectors. I wouldn't worry about mining the map out before your opponent, because, by God, just look at it. It's carbon everywhere. So John really needs to do something with his eco there and balance it out a bit. So the worker count's actually even with all those strike mechs happening. But the economies are not even, because we've got 4 holocrons and 8 extra nerfs for John. Which, and I'll just show you this right now, just while we're here, just for a little bit of context. You can see that that's already generated 3,800 Nova, which is a huge amount. I mean, if you think of all the units that you can build with that, like the air cruisers, which would be incredibly relevant in this map, right, with these chokes and the opportunity comes to kill off the carbon, create new paths for yourself really quickly. The artillery, that's going to cost a lot of Nova, and, you know, having really good mech line. You can get assault mechs too, and, you know, when you can make assault mechs and there's no Jedi Masters to steal them from you, you feel pretty compelled to do so. Not only that, the Nova can be turned into basically infinite ore using the spaceport too. So you can make a lot of shield generators, you make fambas and stuff. And I think it would be in John's best interest to just be permanently trading with Raphiel's army here. But he should just use the air cruiser to kill off the trees and just create a nice unit arc for himself and build some shields. If you've got all this free resources, you know, this like infinite res, you know, you should make use of it. Were all the hollows on your side too? It would seem so. He's got 4 of them. I think people get really trapped into just obeying the layout of this map when you need not. Just kill the trees. Because it's actually a wall that you could kill really quickly and catch people out. So I don't think that Raphiel can ever push into this right now. He would be best to have his own air cruiser. I think that the way for him to crawl out of this game, being at such a horrible deficit, would be to defend really well, really cost efficiently, and to kill off this tree line and just funnel harassing units like strike mechs into the eco, and just try and cut things off for his opponent here. Now you see, if you had an air cruiser here, there's very little this army can do to deal with it. There's not really any anti-air capabilities at all. There's like some T3A mobiles legacy units. There's no turrets or anything like that. And then we can see some of the trees getting off. Just do that, man. Just create space. You're gonna need it, or your armies just can't fight properly. And this army is so weak to air cruiser. But you can imagine it, right? Like just this sort of strike. Look, its mech factories are all in a wonderful position for it as well. Just funnel strike mechs through. And he shouldn't really be too worried about getting raided back, because he can just make mech destroyers himself. He's better set up for it, right? Whereas opponent's got this sort of split with heavy weapons factories, mech factories, troop centers. Instead, they still try to drop things. And just one AC shot, bam, pummel, well, funnel the strikes through. You could probably reuse it like an actual dedicated shield generator here as well in the back. You can try and want to hold this hill, right? He's going to drop the strike mechs in here. They should get some damage in, but it's like there's so much more to the eco, right? There's all these spots. And what would be so great about this as well is just because this is the entry point, this is where the infrastructure is. It's nowhere near the entry point. So you've got so much leeway of where to distribute the units. You see, this is a lot easier to defend because the mech destroyers pop out right here, and because of all the buildings as well, sort of blocking the path off. Try and do some more damage here with the fingers. There's this Nova that you should maybe go in. He's got transport, so you should go and grab that. And there's this ore pile as well, which he doesn't know about. Maybe want to get that as well. Maybe delete the spec factory. Get another fortress or something. Cannons are going to be a problem for him, particularly without good shields here. Although, to be fair, at the moment it's very vulnerable. He maybe should have just launched a sortie of mech destroyers down the hill and taken that cannon down. Probably best defense for cannons would just be other cannons. And then ACs to keep the rest of the units away. It's unfortunate, but it's just the way you'd have to play in this instance, being so, you know, behind in hollows and nerfs. Oh, he's going to try another mounty tech switch here. There were troopers. I don't know what happened to them all, if they all died. There are some here, though. And the mounties, because there's a shield and there's troopers, they're getting stuck on the troopers as well. They're just not getting as much damage as you would like. You can see some anti-air mobiles out now in case he tries to lean on these fast fighters. Just constantly repairing the fortress here. And it feels like this cannon's got 1 billion range just because of the sort of elevation deception here. I mean, 17's a lot, but it just feels like it's more, you know. And the assault mechs are really good against this army, against the artillery. And Raphiel just getting a bit frustrated there and just saying, GG, this is silly, he's just going to move on to the next game. Doesn't feel that he can win out of that spot, which is understandable considering, again, when we look at the amount of resources of a current game. You know, like 6k Nova that's come from that. So go into the next one. And we're here on Desert. Didn't believe my own eyes there at first. Good old classic Desert, which will be feeling like a comfort pick for Raphiel. They played a lot of games on it. And it's pretty much everyone's sort of comfort pick, I would think, anyway, because it's just the sort of the 1v map that 1v1 map that people go for. And instant nursery dropping down here. 6 nerfs, probably gonna eat one though, maybe. He does find the Famba kinda quick, he can maybe get a worker onto that very quickly here. Go, go, go. Since he's a Confederacy as well, he can't make himself feel better in the downtime by just getting basic training. Goddamn Banthas, get out of the way, he's got a Dewback to find. And we've got John finding his very quickly here as well, getting his nerfs housed. And there's a few EOPs in the middle of the map. I don't know if the players will maybe go for those. This could be the rare T1 recruit rush map. Get the EOPs. Build the troop center in the power core. Control the EOPs, control the universe. But probably not, probably just build farms. And they're a lot closer to John here. As you can see. Like those are fairly close, like 4 of them as well. That's a food processor right there. Carbon quickly for Raphiel here. That Dewback won't last forever. Gonna need to find another way to put food on the table. So most than likely gonna be farms, I would think. And Dewback already done here for John the Light. He's probably going to go onto the OPs now. Gonna murder these OPs. There being, what, 6, 7 workers here? 8? Maybe a little bit too many. Thought it was going to be the food processor there, that would have been a terrible food processor. Raphiel's a little bit behind in his consumption of the Dewback. But it's going to work out nicely in terms of the timing for him, I think, here. His food processor about to be finished here. He's going to need to place a bunch of farms. We could say that John probably a bit of an advantage here with the OPs, just because it's an extra 400, 560 food. And it comes at kind of a vital time as well, because you get the food processor, you know, for them to put it in, and then it gives you a bit more time to get the carbon set up. And you know, you might be able to go like double carbon processor and then just get all those farms. You know, really comfy carbon eco. Whereas Raphiel here, I'll probably have to get a few farms, then the second carbon processor, then the rest of the farms. You can see he's going to want to do that because look at these Larrys running back. Oh, he's going to go for the Mounties instead. Interesting. So this is going to work out really nicely on this map, and yeah, kind of just forgot about that as a thing. Oh, it looks like John's going to do the same thing. Well, John's going to be a huge advantage here with Mounties, no? Since he's not had to put the carbon in. And the workers are very idle though. Raphiel getting himself housed as well. It's all going wrong for both players. There we go, there's a house. No, that started as soon as he got housed. The one worker house. It's probably his benefit anyway. He can bank a bit of food and queue up Mounties. And I guess the biggest part of this for Mounties being good here is the being Confederacy, having the extra Nova. So you can have basic training on your workers, but get out 2 extra Mounties. Or 3 if you want to go all the way down to 0 Nova. So power core down. You can see it's already finished here for Johnny. He's got a lot of workers on carbon, but just like, come on, like we need an extra carbon spot here. He's going to make trooper recruits. So he's just going to defend the Mountie rush rather than Mountie. I don't like it. Not when you can fed. Just make your own Mounties. Kill off the Mounties that come to you, and then you can counterattack. If you can, why not? And he's ahead in food as well, because of the AOPs. Could have eaten more. This one gets kind of close. So, Mountie gonna come in here. Workers are biological, they can't be repaired, but the troopers and the Mounties can be repaired. And that Mountie's gonna go down. He does get to kill these off. You can maybe play for like getting to T2 first with like a higher trooper count and then counterattack them. Maybe that's the sort of plan. I would like to have my own Mounties here just to be as annoying as my opponent is. Particularly when I know that they've had to farm a little bit more than me because of sheer luck with the AOPs. Raphiel taking his revenge out on the AOPs, just killing them all off with the Mounties. I don't know why these trooper recruits are out in the middle of the map. They're going to die here, especially with the scout joining in, because the extra damage is going to matter a lot. And these Mounties can get complete surface area on the trooper recruits. This is a huge blunder. And very needless. I don't know why he sent them up there. Trooper recruits are incredibly like paper mache. They just die. You need to kite with them and be very careful with them. You just stand still and let them kill you. Getting really good trades with these Mounties. He's not had to make any more, and it's just giving him all the time he needs to get to T2 as well. You can see that Raphiel's actually ahead now. Just because during all this, he, built a bit more farms a bit quicker, and it's a very reliable food income. And a lot more trooper recruits are dying and being built than needed to be built before he got to T2. So John is going to take a little while to get to T2, and there might be a window here for Raphiel to get some troops onto his side of the map and do some damage. There's not even 2 troop centres yet. He could maybe just sort of spawn kill the troops that come out by the time he gets there. You see he's sending them out now. Switch to his, we'll have a look at the old tech that's going on. Getting the range, getting the trooper attack, so these guys are going to move around really quickly now. Heading over to this side. That's a cursed looking carbon at the moment. John just hitting T2 now. There's 7 troopers coming towards him. Gonna kill off the scout, but that gives Raphiel the inkling he knows exactly where the troops are. He's built the sentry. Why has he built sentry posts? I feel like he's probably gonna need double turrets. He's kind of creating an environment where he's just got to defend all game, like on like sentry posts here. The others are kind of out of the way as well. I try to take some trades here. Unfortunately, Raphiel losing a couple of troopers here. He's going to survive the early push here. I just do not like these sentry posts early because like if John wipes this army, he can counterattack, but he might not feel too great about counterattacking when troops just walk into his carbon line later. He doesn't have 2 turrets. Building a 3rd troop center. So he's maybe going to try and just have way more troops all the time and defend with troops all the time. See, Raphiel really wants a fight here. John, not so much. Raphiel actually rallying to this point. He needs to watch his troopers though, because this ore is going to split them in a way that's going to disadvantage himself. Yeah, not got his own turrets yet. Not felt the pressure. So there was a bit of a pause there. John having internet problems. Raphiel managed to walk down during this time and get trapped here, and he is just going to die. I'm going to lose these troops because there's just way more troops here for John. And he's up against the edge of the map in this cliffside. He's going to get trapped. Well, to his benefit there, John chased him with only 3 units to take on 4, so he's going to kill those very quickly. And get a little bit of a better trade there until he ran into the rest there. Chasing the one that was running away. It's a bit micro from both players there coming in. And changing the outcome. Now John going to sneak around the map here. You can see that, you know, Raphael's feeling the pressure. He's going to build a turret. He doesn't really want to commit to 2, it would seem. Just the 1. I think he could just get another one though. It seems like he wants to cover these farms a little bit. Good prefab sort of over here, giving them a bit of scouting knowledge about this army. I don't know what this secret carbon nonsense is about. If your opponent scouts this and just, they can see this in the shroud. And another blue in pause, it would seem. Must be really tilting to deal with. But Raphiel is picking his opponent apart now during this, because that army got cleaned up, the one that got saw here on the prefab shot. Saw there, seen there. Another army sneaking around, but Raphael's got some going in here into the carbon. And a lot of troopers out to deal with this. He's going to want to run away, grab the hill maybe, and take a more favourable trade. These guys try to get into a spot here, but slowly the door is closing as Raphiel walls up to the edge of the map here and creates the sort of only choke point around the command centre as he sends more of his own troops out here, which could be really good timing for John because we've only got 1 turret here and the turret's not even placed on the carbon so much. But can Raphiel wall it? No, he can't. John needs to pay attention to this army. He's been really distracted at home by the troops that are still there from Raphiel. If John can micro this really well, he can get so many kills, but he's not. He's running towards the turret. He's not paying attention, and he's getting a lot of time, Raphiel, here to build up troops and deal with this, and he actually runs these away from the carbon workers that were all stuck against the edge. I feel like he's denied himself a bit more worker kills than he could have gotten here. See, Raphiel now responds. He does get to clean up this army at home and feel a little bit better at home, but I think that was a real opportunity for John to get a lot more worker kills if he just positioned them here, because there would have been like 8-9 workers that you could just be firing on constantly, rather than just like 2 workers here at the farms. It's all about the DPS, the rate of fire, and just, you know, what they can fire on in that window. Having to walk around and move and slow that procedure down means much less kills. And being right up against them would have been tons of kills. And on the back of that, Raphiel going to barrow across the map here, look for another trade. And John going to do the same. He's built a lot more troopers. He does have the 3 troop centres, but it seems that Raphiel's matched him in that manner. And he's going to patrol into this army. He's going to win that comfortably because he's just got more. Way more troopers there. And try to finish off these walls so you can just have all this carbon and feel comfortable with it. This side's sort of done. And then that, I mean, the only entry point is here. And you're going to get in here, snipe a farm, just get ahead that way. Try and snipe another one, just while he's got this trooper count lead, but the troops come here from John. He's going to patrol, going to get on top of the hill a little bit and patrol, try and take a favourable trade, and just keep the amount of troopers down here while he keeps rallying from his 3 TCs, and just trying to out macro, play better than his opponent here with his production, and keep the pressure on. See, as he keeps this hill, he can have really good trades. It really does matter when there's small amount of troopers like this. And that means that farms that are built on this side can just be insta sort of sniped by these troopers when they come down the hill. You see, things are just not looking too great in terms of the eco here. And then when he builds the other farms this way, they're going to be on this hill too. John really needs to take back control of the map here. He needs to wipe this army, get a lot of troopers out, and just... by having control, he can control these hills and stop his farms getting killed. Got secret ore over here as well. A lot of these secret eco antics. If he's got all this ore, why is he not getting some extra turrets then? You know, you should probably get a turret around here. It would make this hill feel a hell of a lot better for him. Using the wall there to his advantage. And just looking to keep trading with this army. Just pressuring these farms. He's on the way to T3 now because his farms are just not being harassed. Let's see if John's able to keep up. Not at all. There's just way too much carbon, and they're going to take a big fight here on top of the hill. This prefab being a little bit annoying, but I don't think it matters because there's just way more troopers here for Raphael. And John's going to find himself in a really bad spot soon when his opponent hits T3 and he's still stuck on the defensive with his troopers. Going to build a turret here on this Nova. But it's not really going to help too much. Probably be better to build it here, at least encroaching on the hill, because it's the hill that's giving him so much grief right now while he doesn't have enough troops. But I am surprised he has so little troops and he's got 3 troop centres. Still think they're really getting used too much. I see there's quite a bit of idle time and now there's like 5 on each troop centre. Which is not really in line with what he's trying to do now, which is catch up to T3. And he gives a sad face when his opponent hits T3 there. And Raphael will just want to keep his troops together, I would think. Upgrade them. He's going to get a lot of strike mechs. Maybe he's going triple mech factory? Not just a double here. 2 CCs as well, going to continue to get ahead. Let's see if he's doing anything. He is getting the heavy trooper and the portable scanners, the range upgrade. And John managed to sneak his troops across. This is really bold. He's not going to be able to defend the attack that's coming though. I don't see how this is really going to do anything. Because as soon as you see it hit you, you just rally a strike mech to it. And now he just doesn't have anything to like... He didn't even have like troopers he could put in his turrets. Oh my god, there's 5. But at least if he had troopers here that were like, you know, threatening to fight this army with the turrets and stuff, he would survive a little bit longer, I would think. Whether he kills workers or not, I don't think it's going to matter when his opponent's got like 3 CCs. He's going to kill off all the farms. Make sure he never gets to T3. But he might have cut some corners with spaceport. No, he does have 1200 carbon, and he's got all this ore that he mined over here he could just sell. Oh, he didn't build a spaceport. Oh, he did. Yeah, he could get to T3. He sold a lot of that carbon. And it looks like the troopers, he just forgot about them and they're just sitting prefab shelter. Brought it down to 5-4. 541 health. But this army is just wandering around. The heavy trooper is going to kill off the power core now. And there's not really anything to deal with it. And I think it might be time to move on to the next game. And make this series 1-1. Make all these turrets and stuff, but you're dead. Where's the airbase? Send the fighters. I just sort of hate this bit, so what can I say? He gets the T3, but he looks like he's been turret rushed. I'll just have a sip of coffee. Wait for the GG and we'll go into the next game. Just talking about internet issues that he's having. Some mech destroyers and such, but look at the difference in workers now. 84 to 43. So he's actually got double his count. Oh no. The secret workers were found. Fighters and strike mechs just everywhere. All they need to do is just not be in the main base, because that's where all the turrets are. And Raphiel are going to be feeling very, very comfy. GG. Thank fuck, let's move on. Right, precipice. As you can see by the big river. Cheeky one shallows there. And what's the nerf count like? Many. What's the nerf count? Yes. Yes is the reply. Dearie me. Air civs and tons of nerfs. I wonder how this could end up on precipice. Wonder what strategy that ends on. A lot of nice fish as well. Kind of lean into each other quite well. The only fear when going for the fish would be though the super fast double air base T3 getting on top of you, just killing you off. I'm gonna see John gonna go for the really early wall off. So we're gonna have to do a light wall though, because he's gonna need his carbon for these nurseries. I'm gonna use his second prefab. Oh, he's gonna spend it all. Interesting. How's he doing for us there? He's just barely managed. Is there any nerf? Any hunt to be getting? Oh, there's still 4 nerfs to grab as well. Need that third nursery. Let's have a look at Raphiel's side of things. It's kind of weird to like switch colours. It's freaking me out here. It's almost confusing me. This feels I'm being targeted here. Only 16 for Raphiel here. There's the 20. Is he maybe gonna go and fish? What's this boy up to? To find nerfs on his journey. Oh, there's 4 up here as well. So they can each have like 24, I think. Which is fairly balanced. Tons of workers on carbon here. So the question is, your rebels, are you gonna farm or are you gonna go for the shipyard? The shipyard versus farm, it would seem. Raphiel asking if his opponent's missing nerfs. It's almost like some sort of bluff game. But yeah, if they both scout well, they'll each find 4 more nerfs. Early Nova here. Not really sure why. What's the actual point of this? I need more farms. They're not like close to tackle. Looks like he's found the extra 4. John not quite found his extra 4 yet. So I just feel like these workers should be farms right now, and then like the ones coming out of the CC can go into Nova. Get the food quicker. You need more food than you need Nova. Like, this feels more reasonable. But he's fishing. I thought it was an aqua harvester for some reason there. It was a way to flame Raphiel. Heavily. What is this? Ore triangle. Illuminati. And yeah, we're just waiting to get the hell out of T1 so we can wait to get the hell out of T2 so we can probably wait to get the hell out of T3 and then we'll end things with A-Wings or something, I don't know. It's a very fast T4 looking set of circumstances in my opinion. The old rebels with tons of nerfs and precipice will wall off. Oh. Finding the nerfs with the utility trawler. What's he going to do with them? Will he send them to his opponent? Will he hide them in the corner? I'm just going to leave them. Sometimes is the best solution, but unfortunately it's just about time for John to find them. And Raphael building a lot of sensor boys. What's the range of these? They seem a little bit close. I have vision all across the map. It's really going to help when the fighters try to catch your opponent's fighters and stuff. Gonna go for Temple Spaceport because you feel a lot safer with there being a crossing wall off. Not really worried about like strike mechs killing you off early. And he's going to try and get those holocrons. It's probably at the back of his mind in all these games now, who's thinking about the holocrons since that one earlier where he had to face his opponent who had like 4 holos. John had just tons and tons of free Nova. And the holos go so well into the build here, but there's going to be a huge array of Nova costs early. And building all these fighters and maybe even thinking about that fast T4 air as well. Good setup of farms here for John, so I imagine he's maybe a little bit ahead. Yeah, just a little bit. I think he should maybe be even a bit quicker than that though. I'm not too sure. I haven't really thought too much about the one shipyard and how much it would slow down. It's going to feel a hell of a lot better with all the nerfs though, that's for sure. So maybe it does just feel like a big lead. But it's almost going to be here that the faster tech time is just not fast enough for Raphael to feel the consequences of it. So he's kind of just going to feel like he's got extra workers, which he does, technically. So John hitting the T3 here. Only one airbase going down though. There's the second one. And Raphael waiting here. Workers in position, just to get them up as quick as possible. One less worker building them, but you know, he's going to be the defender here, but it might just be that the fighters actually go straight to his utility trawlers here. But to be honest, the damage is kind of done. You know, he's gotten all the fish he would want from here. He might not even want to fish up here. It'd be nice if he could keep them and make them just do aqua harvesters or something. But he's not going to have the same, you know, demand for a high immediate food count for a little while until he's thinking about T4. So there's a lot of leeway for him to just make workers out the CC and air fighters out the airbase right now. So even if he loses these, it's not too bad. He's going to get an anti-air destroyer though. So he's maybe very nervous about just losing these. And he doesn't really want to keep them. The fighter's going to sit at home. They wait till he's got like a more controllable account or amount of them. But John not actually flying out into the map until he's got 4 fighters. He's just not got the confidence. I'm not sure where he's trying to go here. It's like he's trying to sneak around the map or something, but you know, he just flew over all the vision. Don't know if he's maybe scouting. I don't know, I don't like this, because he's not taking a direct path. You know, by the time he gets there, there's probably going to be 6 fighters. Which there should be, I would have thought. Unless our boy here got housed. No, he does have 6, it's just he's flying them out into the mountains. You just forget, but these flew up your vision. Again, he's always getting caught in these prefab shelters with his patrols. Oh. Raphiel losing his air here. Just kind of, he came in, killed a worker, and then just lost it. the little sentry post here working overtime. And while this is happening, because it was a sort of like base trade moment with them sending the units to one another, ships passing in the night, the fighters here are going to kill a lot of workers. Raphiel is going to get to clean it up, but he's lost like 3-4 workers. Fortunately, he does have a sort of worker buffer here with these shipyards. Made a little cheeky transport ship here. Not sure what that's going to have. Is he going to try and get the holocron from his side as well? I'm unsure. Ominous transport just going up and down the river. Oh, we had 2 CCs, 2 CCs. He's building mech destroyers because of this transport. He thinks there's strike mechs about to get delivered. Oh no, that's a lot of carbon wasted there. Oh no, no, no. Oh. Rest in peace, Jedi friend. You could have dropped them off. You had the time to do that. Just walk up to the edge and then just click him out the thing. He would have still lost the transport, but he might have clipped some of the fighters with his own fighters while they're shooting at the Jedi. Oh well. At least it wasn't 5 strike mechs. But to be fair, that's kind of a big win, because it's just a lot of carbon that you need. Make another one. He's going to have to drop these himself now, I think. Seems a lot to be making when you're not being harassed with strikes at all. And air from Raphiel here going to come into the base, and he's just going to look to try and get, you know, a bit of trade here, get some workers with an element of surprise, and then maybe fly away, or take a trade if it proves he's got more. Knocking him off the Nova here is going to feel good, but he's in a really bad arc here, and with these fighters engaging, he's going to have to patrol back in, I think. Oh, he's lucky that Raphiel pulled away, or that John pulled away there. He got away with that, because he was right that he had to patrol there. But because his opponent moved back at the exact same instance, he got the opportunity to actually just completely disengage. And I'm going to try and stop the Padawan here, but yeah, the damage isn't there from the fighters, unfortunately, on a Jedi Padawan. So the question is, are we on our way to T4? And yes, we are. We've not slowed ourselves down with mech destroyers. We got a couple of the holos early as well, and maybe just sort of had a bit more of a streamlined build. I imagine the shipyard and the extra workers bringing in the fish have had a bit of an impact as well. There's not actually a ton of farms here for John, which is surprising considering he sort of opened farms. I think his ecos are maybe a little bit imbalanced here. He doesn't have a lot of workers on Nova actually. Only got 1 holo. It's going to feel really bad for him when his opponent hit T4 before him. With maybe, I think he's maybe got a bit more fighters than him. Raphiel will feel pretty comfy to take this trade, even if he is on his way to T4. John's going to disengage, he's going to have even less fighters now. Raphiel just needs to hide these just now. Just wait, get the upgrades, and then he's going to be able to just kill everything. Let's face it, that's just the way T4 era is. And you know, it's the kind of game that you could follow up with bombers as well, particularly with this lead of fighters. And John's going to be feeling pretty miserable right now. You can see he's funneling resources around with a spaceport, clicking off to go to T4, but I mean, he's going to suffer such casualties. He just is. I mean, you look at the spread of the command centers, there's nothing to keep these guys safe. The fighters, you're going to probably have to hide in a corner, because they're just going to die to fast fighters. And even when he does upgrade them, he's going to have less. And Raphiel's going to get a little bit braver now as he gets closer and closer to shields. He does a fast fighter, so I feel he could probably beat anything he fights. And there's not really much to do here other than just like not be so late to T4. Not with this amount of fighters. If he had more, he could like try and take a trade right now, but if he tries to take a trade with this, he's just going to be even worse off. And with shields now, he's going to want to take that trade for sure. and you're going to win that every day. And these workers, yes, as we say, they're going to die. And the air can just spread around the base now. It's a shame that that fortress wasn't like here. Just to keep those workers safe. But again, these is going to get so behind. I wouldn't be surprised if there's maybe like bombers coming at some point. It's pretty intuitive follow-up. The only other thing you could do maybe is just go into the Mounties as well. The Mounties would be really good here, especially if he's killing off this wall. Because you've already got Nursery, it costs food and Nova. You only need to just drop some troop centres, which you'll need eventually later on anyways, rebels, and you know, you can get that extra bit of health for them, and they'll just sort of kill buildings for you. They complement the fighters pretty well. I do like that we're not getting advanced fighters, there's not really any need for it. To get the armour, I don't even think the armour's necessary here, not when you've got this much of a lead. I think the quicker you just go straight into a follow-up here, the easier you just sort of kill your opponent. There's never really going to be an end to these fighters, is there? Because he lost all of his. It's probably getting advanced, I would have thought. Oh, there's going to be a Jedi follow-up, that's not too bad as well. So he's got advanced turrets, he's getting homing. Now Jedi coming in is going to feel really bad for him. Does have the fortress. And he should maybe be thinking about this as a follow-up as well. Like get a bounty hunter or two, because if he's going to get these nice, wonderful turrets that are going to kill off the air, and then they just get converted, it's going to feel really, really bad for him. This cruiser, can he shoot the spaceport? Only 12 range. Poverty. Thank God we need a Nova processor here. Look at the bumping. Is this Granuli? Why yes, I still use the transport ship. Oh, the mech destroyer. He has joined the yellow side. I'm just gonna call GG. Doesn't like the Jedi. It's tilted by them, I think. But yeah, had to play more for the T4 there, I think. It was too long to not be in T4, so that's 2-1 to Raphiel. So if he takes the next game, he's going to take the series, because it's a best of 5. First to 3 wins. And it's Precipice again. How boring. Well, learn from your mistakes, I guess. Naboo, they're very fortunate to get another, it's kind of just the same sort of game. Just for less food. Much less food as well, and I just meant because of rebels, but isn't really any food at all. No nerfs. Ethical Precipice. Holy. No rebel bonus. What's he saying? 3. What? Figure me out. Oh, food. Blooming taunt chatters. Nerds. I only know the annoying noises the taunts make in the chat when people are AFK. That's an easy wall. God damn, that's a really shallow crossing. Not just because it's shallows. No food at all. This is fun. I like this. And when we talked about the old farming versus fishing antics, this is the best example probably. So both players are just going to have to build their farms ASAP, up to 5 or 6 farms, and carbon processor. Is he really going to try and like wall? I think he just needs his carbon right now. At least make it light, one prefab and then light walls or something. What the fuck? You built a medic and a farm off? Yikes. Gets the wall to scout out. And at least this time he's got a scout in his opponent's side. He's definitely set himself behind, I think, though. 9. I guess he's built this while he didn't have food. One of the big advantages, though, having the medic. Just feels like one less farm. Is he going to come back and delete his wall? Special delivery? Or is this just going to die? God, this is. I'm going to have to speed this up. A farm off is too boring. It's so slow. It's like an extra 3-5 minutes long or something. So carbon going down here. I've got 1, 2, 5 farms. We're going to the healthy 6 here when you're not rebels. I think Raphiel should be a worker ahead by now. Because I think this is just going to be a lot more consistent with the food income. Let's have a look, see if I'm right. Yeah. So I've got 2 workers out here trying to get some sort of little wall off. Oh, he's going to go for the shipyard. Interesting. He's definitely liking the shipyard. Mildly housed. There's going to be a lot of time to get some good value out of the shipyard, though. Oh dear, need another carbon. Don't like this house. Feels bad, man. Actually, is John going to do the same thing? Yes, yeah. Oh. It's changed the game a lot. Is that a cheeky 2 prefab wall? So where do we go from here? If we're both going to be fishing. Oh, Raphiel's definitely ahead in that regard. Since he's already got 4 trawlers out. Which means he's probably got de jure rights to the river. But John going to challenge him on that. I wonder if when they get to T2, maybe they can have a bit of a frigate fight to decide who is king of the river here. And food count really running up there. I think he's got about 100 food lead now. So Raphiel is probably going to get to T2 first here, and yeah. With 2 shipyards. Being T2 first, he can get the frigates out and just be ahead on the frigates always. It's going to be pretty difficult for John here. Throat's dying a little bit, but speaking too much. The only thing you can really do is try and get like a turret up. But, maybe you need like a 3rd shipyard and then a turret. That worker's going to get bopped away by the frigates though, I think. I think by the time he's even got 2 frigates out, there's going to be 4. Luring them away is actually quite good. Not do we get housed and then 1 come out? Or maybe he's just trying to not ruin his own T3 as well. They must be inside. So he's got about 3, but it's like 3v5 at the moment, and he's losing all the utility trawlers. He does throw them out now and tries to take a trade here where he's got 4. But both players microing quite well and nobody really getting the upper hand there. And this one almost like rallying to its death there, but it's going to regroup and then there's going to be a little bit of a flank here, but he needs to time this well to get the units together, otherwise these are just going to die quickly, and then the reinforcements join up with these, and then he has a sort of trade with them here. Oh, that was nice of the utility trawler just tanking some shots there. You can see that Raphiel noticed that and started microing it forward just to get the upper hand, and then he pulls the other 2 back now, and he's just maybe going to snowball out here. But there are the 2 utility trawlers to tank a couple of shots, but I think with these having to turn round and shoot and such, and there just being more for Raphiel, he's going to take that trade, and he's going to win the river here. And the worst thing is, once he does kill all these off, he can kill off the power core as well, probably. Or maybe that's a T3 thing when he gets an extra 1 range, we'll see. He really wants to censor Bio Dad, just so he can not be spied upon. So John not on his way to T3, but Raphiel absolutely is, because he's had these extra little utility trawlers bringing in the food all this time. And he's just got his eco just a little bit better, maybe cut a few more corners here. Just to make sure he does win the river, and he is T3 first. And if he can get T3 first, he can maybe drop the double layer base and get on top of his opponent here. I don't think he's going to make the temple right now, since he's on the way into T3. I think he should just save that carbon, just get his 2 air bases, pump out as much fighters as possible, and get that later. Need to buy a bit of carbon, I think. Can these really not reach those? I guess not. I should try and kill the shipyards though. Whoa! That's forced him to put all these frigates out, but there's still, like, I think 1 or 2 more for Raphiel here, so he's just going to win this. That's going to feel bad. I don't know if there was any point to try to win the river at that point. Like, after that first big fight, that was kind of it. Yeah, the game is over. It's kind of just too much res to throw away. Airbase being built now. Frigate upgrades, so they actually get the 6+1 range now, they might reach the power core. It's gonna grab up the hollows and stuff, just playing it, taking it safe, I guess. Opponent does get to T3. I think that was a bit of a window here though for him to murder him with the fighters. I think he could probably have about 4 fighters by now if he played for it. Which is more than enough to just spawn kill all the fighters, and there would have to be like a anti-air turret being built as well, while workers just get shot to death. A destroyer. And a bomber. Man really hates these shipyards and this power core. Going for the old power core with the bomber. The fighters are going to pop out here. They've only really just started production now for Raphiel. 2 coming out. So the fighter count's going to be kind of even right now, and then it's going to pull into John's favour just because he's got 3 air bases, I think. Especially if Raphiel just flies into his death here. Straight towards these fighters. But he gets to have the river, and being Naboo, they're actually a Navy Civ as well, so never really going to be building on this coastline ever. You know, as long as this game goes, like, this Nova, probably never going to get that. Losing all these shipyards, losing a few prefabs and stuff. Not quite a new CC yet for John here. one carbon Larry right here. The fighter's going to try and kill off these utility trawlers because he does have a little bit more just with this 3 airbase. It'll be the anti-air destroyer to lean upon, and he's never really... There's 2 anti-air destroyers now as well. He could always just sort of sit this navy here, escort his workers across, and yeah. I think what I would like to do from this instance is actually just proxy a couple of heavy weapons factories and just funnel out like pummels and anti-air mobiles while I just sort of boom it home as well. I think that'd be funner than just going straight T4 there. Because you can totally do it here, because it's just like with 3 airbase, he just feels compelled to make fighters. Like there's no mech factory. There's no nursery, there's no mounty tech. So you just use your fighters and your heavy weapons to bully the CCs. Yeah. I wonder if John is going to try and get himself up to T4. You see, these buildings could be up by now, and the things coming his way. It should be really hard to deal with while I'll try a T4. Be the farm police arriving, the pummels, and the AA mobiles. John has 1 utility trawler just being really annoying here, I would say, making these sensor bells everywhere. While the destroyers are just hunting them. Now, if John uses his spaceport, he could go up to T4. He's not going to look at the buildings, what's he doing? Ugh. See, he's not even out of this game if he just played for this. He's just being a bit slow. But look at the res. I could have gotten this like 2 minutes earlier and just sold some carbon, bought a little bit of food and tech up. But we're going to have Raphiel here just teching up a bit quicker. I think he maybe used the spaceport a little bit because the last time I looked at his sort of economic breakdown. But regardless of that, they've got the same amount of fighters. John does have the extra airbase right now, so it's turning into a T4 game, but let's look at worker counts. 74, 61, so Raphael definitely ahead. Just because he's just not, he's gotten a lot more out of all this. I think in total as well, he's probably built less frigates. The destroyers were a little bit extra though, probably didn't need them. I like the anti-air boats though, just because of the presence that they give. Look at hollows and stuff. 2. He's not found that one. Can not build a temple. Oh. So his opponent hits T4 before him. But this is a lot more rescuable of a T4 scenario than last game. Because it's not as long to wait, and there's just a much healthier fighter count. I think he needs to hide them. Lots of fast fighters out now. I think these should just be always going to go for the early masters this time as well. That's really nice because the master, what the master can do is scout, and there's literally nothing that can deal with them on the ground. There's no fortress or anything. He does see it with like sensor things. Again, well, it's a Civ strength. You're gonna build masters. Yeah. for sure. But this is what's just great, right? You can see exactly where the fighters are, and he can decide if he wants to engage it or not, or fight the war center. It's up to him. It's actually kind of an even trade here because of the sort of bad distribution. Chong going to pull away, and he's actually going to kill off these fighters because Raphiel not paying too good attention. But yeah, he can steal the air bases. Unfortunately, it was a guess the right one, guess the wrong one there, but John is just going to GG. Doesn't like the Masters, I don't think. He doesn't feel he can deal with them. And yeah, Raphiel going to take that series 3-1. So GG well played to both players there. Raphiel, I guess, will play in Risk in the finals whenever that happens. I think both players are busy for the time being, but it should happen sometime in the future. And yeah, if you like the content, please consider subscribing to the channel. Give the video a like. If you want to join in the GBG community, you'll find the Discord invite link down below in the description. If you're looking for another way to support the channel, you maybe want to buy me a coffee, you can find a PayPal link down below that you could slide some money to. And yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.